Welcome back to the Fifth Quarter Sportscast. I'm Jared Judy, and I'm here, as usual, with my buddy Todd Corley. How we doing?
Playoffs.
A little foreshadowing there. Yeah, I'm sure my friend here is a little amped up, a little celebratory drink going on over there. We'll get into that here. He's gonna be in a good mood for at least another week. But we'll jump right in. We got plenty of stuff to cover here. It's been quite an eventful week 16 here. But we'll start off with the poll of the week. Most surprising feat from week 16 in the NFL. We had the Pittsburgh Steelers surprisingly blowing out Cincinnati. Amari Cooper setting the Cleveland record for single game receiving yards at 265. The Raiders just completely manhandling Kansas City, or Baltimore completely shutting down San Francisco. We have 60% for Amari Cooper and 40% for the Raiders taking down Kansas City. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not a Cleveland fan. I'm not going to act like I am. But with all the injuries they've had and the quarterback carousel they've had, when you have somebody that puts up that kind of numbers as a receiver and you set a record, props to you. Hats off. Cheers, buddy. I obviously not being a Browns fan, who did he pass? Do you know?
Josh Gordon.
Is that who it was? That's who
Yep.
I was kind of thinking that's probably who it would have been, because honestly I couldn't think of anybody else that was that dominant that, had a shot that was with them that long. But that's a hell of a number. I mean, that's pretty freaking impressive.
He didn't have to get high to do it. That's the impressive part.
It's true.
Kudos to you, Amari Cooper.
It's true.
Kudos to you, baby.
There's a good chance he could pass a drug test after the game.
Oh, shit. He higher than fucking Josh Gordon riding a camel.
Oh, man. There's a very good chance. But we'll jump in and kind of skim through some of these games. Some of these are just kind of kind of duds. Some of them we got some highlights to kind of break down, but we got plenty to cover here in the breaking news section a little bit later. But the Thursday night game, it wasn't terrible. It was all right. We had the Rams take down the Saints 30-22. Derek Carr still continues to struggle. Defense is kind of a mess, or the offense is still a mess with the Saints. But surprisingly, the Rams are turning it around. Between them and Seattle, they're making a push for that last wild card spot. But we had, like I said earlier, we had Pittsburgh and Cincinnati on Saturday. I don't even know what the heck happened.
That's what happened.
Well, that's what happened to Cincinnati.
Disgusting.
I don't really understand what exactly happened. For the most part, Pittsburgh's looked just awful. They've looked horrible. They're on a quarterback carousel as well. Kenny Pickett's been hurt. Then they had Trubisky come in. He sucks, as he always has. And then Pickett's healthy, but they bench him for Rudolph, and Rudolph came in and lit it up. And Pickens decided he actually wanted to contribute for a change. I don't know. I'm not going to chalk this up as, the Steelers are the real deal. I don't think this Bengals team is as good as their record shows. I don't think they're quite an 8-7 team, in my opinion. At least not right now. Not with their roster.
I sure as hell don't think the Steelers are an 8-7 team.
No.
But they sure as hell are.
No.
That's what I don't understand.
Well, I think it's...
How the hell is the entire AFC is over 500?
I think
it's not even mathematically impossible.
I think they're very misleading as far as the records go in this case, because let's be honest, the Bengals are not the type of Bengals team that you think could make a run at it. Definitely not the Steelers. But, surprisingly, Najee Harris actually had a decent game, 19-78 for a touchdown, and then Pickens 4 for 195 and 2 touchdowns. Now, granted, one of them was, like an 85, 86-yard catch.
152.
Yeah, but I mean, hell, I had him on my fantasy team. Where the hell was that shit the rest of the season? That would have been nice to have. But, yeah, welcome to the league. Thanks for showing up.
Trash. Yeah, they're garbage.
Yeah.
Neither one's making the playoffs. They're insignificant.
What, was Chase hurt in this game? Jamar Chase?
Bryant? Oh, Jamar. Yeah, he didn't play.
That's because I was looking at some of the stats. We were at a Christmas party, and I was kind of looking at the stats, and I'm like, is he just not hurt, or are they just not throwing him the ball? Because I don't see him showing up at all, and I didn't realize he was out. But Higgins, 5 for 140 and a touchdown. He didn't do too bad, but not ideal not having Chase out there. Moving on, we got the Bills taking down the Chargers 24-22. I don't know what to think of the Bills yet. They're winning, but they're 9-6, but they don't look good doing it. Like, they're very inconsistent. It seems like some weeks they're on and other weeks they're getting the doors blown off. But the fact that you are only beating a team by 2 points who just got beat by, 40-something to the Raiders?
Yeah, pretty bad.
It's not ideal, but in the NFL, a win is a win. So it's one more in the win column and not in the loss column. So take it for what it's worth, but not a great showing.
The NFL in Vegas, baby. A win is a win.
Yeah, it's exactly true. Yeah.
Garbage. I saw that stupid fucking Justin Herbert's face on a Subway commercial. I want to punch my TV.
I'm sure most people do. But speaking of a win is a win and it's garbage, we had the Packers barely hanging on 33-30 to the worst team in the NFL, 2-12, now 2-13 Panthers. It's just more of the same. We had Tommy DeVito 3 weeks ago right now, looking like the Hall of Famer nominee. And then last week we had Baker Mayfield. And then this previous week we had Bryce Young had his best career day. So I know the news came out today that Hall is supposed to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings. He'll have a career day. Honestly, it doesn't matter who the heck they put. They could put the peanut guy out there and he'll have a career day because you could just throw on this defense and it doesn't matter. But I don't know. They barely got the win. So part of me kind of wishes they would have lost because then now we're closer to making playoffs. So if they're closer to making playoffs, that means there's potential more of a chance that Joe Barry will stay if they make playoffs. Whereas if they lose out, he's probably canned. But they got issues from top to bottom. LaFleur seems very soft. There's crap going throughout the locker room on, various players, and he doesn't seem to know how to deal with it. The players are basically running the show here. What's that saying that you can't let the criminals run the asylum? That's kind of what I feel like is going on here. It's out of control.
I miss Joe Barry on Fantasy Football Now on ESPN on Sunday mornings.
I think it might be a cousin.
Oh, that's Matthew Barry.
But I'll tell you what, I enjoy hearing him talk a lot more than I do Joe Barry. But yeah, if I have to hear one more Matt LaFleur post-game conference of, we were out-coached, we had some mistakes, I bet we'd had some plays we wanted back, we blah, 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 I'm going to go nuts. Like,
if I had to hear a single fucking Packers post-game conference, I'd go nuts.
It's the same bullshit every single week. And the thing that just blew me away is leaving your fandom aside. I don't care what team it is. If it's the Packers, if it's the Browns, if it's the frickin' Arizona Cardinals. If your offense puts up 33 points, that should be enough to win any game in the NFL. Hands down. The fact that they missed an extra point, they
wouldn't have beaten the Browns tonight.
No, but they put so much penalty. They're the most penalized team on special teams in the league. And they said 96 penalties, I believe, that lead the league between Carolina and Green Bay. They're the top two penalized teams in the league. So special teams screwed you again. The defense let you down. And when asked about the defensive performance, Matt LaFleur's response was, well, the offense has to do a better job at, converting third downs to give our defense a breather. What? Are you kidding me? Your offense, with all the shortcomings of the defense, put up 33 points, and then your defense gave up 30 to a 2-12 team, and you're blaming it on the offense? That confused me. I don't understand what's going on. But regardless, you can't be barely beating a 2-12 team and expect to have long-term success. Another close game. Seattle takes down Tennessee 20-17. Indianapolis falls rather to the Atlanta Falcons 29-10. We mentioned earlier the Browns take down the Texans 36-22 with Amari Cooper having a career day. We kind of talked about this offline. A lot of things kind of not going Cleveland's way, obviously. You had, was it Hopkins? I think, did he go to IR or is he just out right now, the kicker?
I don't know if he actually landed in the IR, but he's definitely, well, he ain't kicking in week 17.
Yeah, well, I know they picked up another guy.
Yeah.
But I wasn't for sure if it was long-term or what. So he went down. I think the punter also got hurt, didn't he?
Yep, they lost everything.
So they lost that, and then the backup to the backup to the backup to the backup quarterback also went to IR with a hip injury. So it just continues to, compile on itself. But as far as Joe Flacco, we kind of talked about this offline. You mentioned that you really don't care who it is as long as they're winning. But it's got to feel very surreal having a guy that played for the Ravens, which technically was the Browns, coming back into Cleveland from a rival and being probably one of the most productive quarterbacks they've had in quite some time.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't care what the hell's going on as long as he's making passes. And he looks comfortable. He looks better than Joe Flacco I ever saw.
He looks like it's not even like, I don't want to say the mechanics aren't there or like the skill set isn't there, but he almost kind of seems like he's just in the backyard playing with kids or at recess or something. He's just out there.
He looks comfortable.
Yeah,
I've never seen a Cleveland quarterback, especially with the depleted offensive line. I've never seen a Cleveland quarterback look more comfortable.
Well, he's not like real rigid like you see some of these guys are very. I don't want to say scripted, but it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, throw. He's just backyard. Going for the Hail Mary every play. Like it's nice to see somebody. And again, I'm not a Cleveland fan, and they've been through their laundry list of quarterbacks. We've all seen the Cleveland jersey with the 400 names taped and scrolled down past the ankles. It's nice to see somebody that actually can play for a change. Come in there and actually be able to prove that he can play, especially coming off the couch. Like, I don't know.
Looks good. Speaking of jersey,
now,
couch.
Yeah.
Connect the dots.
Yeah. Oh, I connected them.
Tim Couch would have won 13 games this year if he was on this team. I'm just saying. Tim Couch had a shit. He was delicious.
Well, Flacco came off the couch, so what's the chances they reach back out to Tim Couch?
He's kicking dicks, I'll tell you that. Tim Couch looks like a goddamn bodybuilder.
Tim Couch, well, then he would probably be in the Josh Gordon PED testing phase.
He would fail every test there was.
Strength testing.
Paternity.
But yeah, Flacco, I mean, he's not afraid to throw it, so he does have, the handful of interceptions, but he's just throwing it like he doesn't have a care in the world. And it is interesting to watch, but he went 27-42, 368, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Again, Cooper, 11 for 265 and 2 touchdowns. He's doing good. I mean, he's doing real good. And maybe that's what the, Browns need instead of drafting with the first overall pick or the first round pick every freaking year, drafting an unproven quarterback and putting all their eggs in the basket. Maybe they need a veteran to come in for at least a couple years and do what a lot of these other teams do and groom a new quarterback as he's on his way out. I don't know. It wouldn't be a bad idea.
I have a lot of bad ideas.
I'm sure you do. But to move on to the next game here before you start getting your bad ideas out into the atmosphere. We got the Jets taking on the Commanders in a shootout, 30-28. The Commanders are yet another team with a quarterback carousel. It's Sam Howell, and then Sam Howell gets benched, and it's just not great situation over there. Then we had the Lions taking down the Vikings, which that was kind of a close one. Vikings had a shot. They're on their, fourth quarterback, I think. They had Nick Mullins in there.
Could you imagine like an actual Viking, like a Norseman, fighting like an actual lion? Like, you ever just think about this?
It seems
Like
like
these
more
actual.
it seems more like a gladiator.
God,
Seems more
that'd
like
be
a
great.
gladiator thing.
You think? Man,
Seems like a Russell
interesting
Crowe.
thinking
Seems
about
like
it.
a Russell Crowe movie.
He's good in the times pieces. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Maybe like no, not like a Russell Crowe. I was thinking more like a Hemsworth, you know,
Wow.
like a Thor,
I mean,
like a Chris Hemsworth or whatever the fuck
he's
it is.
technically already a Viking.
Like, could you imagine him fighting a lion? That'd be kind of nice. Not fighting Dan Campbell though, because Dan Campbell would probably beat his ass.
Or at least eat his kneecaps.
He would definitely chew on a kneecap. That motherfucker's a pit. But I see where you're going with that. You were going like metaphorical. I was going very literal. I took it to a literal place.
You take everything literal. Yes.
I took it to a literal place. I was thinking, yeah.
Man, if we break down the mascot battle here, we're going to be in for it for the foreseeable future with the next game coming up. But the Vikings,
it's sort of like his own issue though, right? Like, because like Dan Campbell is the Lions coach, but like he looks like a fucking Viking minus the flowing locks. Like he's just a fucking specimen.
Yeah, well, so if you look at back when he played though, he did have that mane when he played.
It's not fair. It's really not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. It's not really a fair fight. Yeah.
Wow. Didn't feel like we were getting that philosophical.
We're getting deep.
Way to bring that in.
It's a bourbon night.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Forewarned. But yeah, the Vikings, they had a shot. They're on their, fourth quarterback or something? Nick Mullins. They're fighting for playoffs. They're fighting to stay afloat. They're 7-8. Yeah, not a whole lot going well there. Although Nick Mullins did throw 22-36 for 412 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw 4 picks and sack 4 times. But then again, Justin Jefferson 6 for 141 and a touchdown. So they just came up short. But moving on to the next one, Buccaneers take down the Jaguars 30-12. How do you feel about Pirates fighting Jaguars?
It's not the same as a Viking fighting a lion. It's it's kind of like the fucking B movie. You know, it doesn't. I don't
the
really
blooper reel
sell as many tickets.
It's like
who the fuck won?
That's like, is that the pre-show?
It's fucking definitely on the undercard. It's definitely not the main event. Like, who the fuck wants to watch a fucking Viking fight a goddamn Jaguar? A Jaguar's not even in my top. I don't even think a fucking Jaguar's in my top 3 predatory cats, to be totally honest with you. Like, you got to put like lions, tigers, and a lot of people think panthers. Maybe holy shit, fucking a mountain lion, maybe even, or like a fucking like a lynx, but like a fucking jaguar, a fucking cheetah, a fucking puma,
for all of those
jaguar.
For all of those,
the jaguar's not even in the top 5.
For all of those keeping track out there, if you had lynx on your bingo card, go ahead and mark that one off.
Fucking lynx. I would rather fight a lynx. I would, for my money, I want to see a lynx fight a minuscule fucking overhyped, undersized hands, small dick, fucking Maker Bayfield. So in that regards, if you're giving me the lynx versus a fucking Buccaneer, then by all means, sign me up. I want a lynx versus Maker Bayfield, and I want it now, Daddy. Call me fucking Veruca Salt. Call me that little fucking Violet, or whatever the hell her name is from Willy Charlie Wonka factory shit.
You are all over the board tonight.
Yep. That's where we went.
Let's move to the next one. I can only imagine the analogies that are going to come from this one. The Bears take down the Cardinals 27-16. That doesn't even seem like a fair fight. If the Buccaneers and the Jaguars were the undercard, is this like the preview trailer at the movies?
I don't even want to talk shit because somewhere somebody paid like $600 for Sunday ticket to watch that garbage. Like somewhere there's some asshole out there, some hapless idiot who's a Cardinals and or a Bears fan who paid extra money to watch that shit out of network. And I'm sorry for you. Like this is a guy who's lost his ass every weekend, betting everything that he owns, including his kids' fucking college tuition, on some stupid fucking football bets and some tennis bets. I'm telling you that I feel sorry for you for having to sit through a Cardinals-Bears game.
Well, I think we know at least one one miserable Bears fan that probably is feeling your pain. Not sure where he's at these days, but your buddy Ian's probably feeling the pain.
Hopefully, the bottom of a river. I'm just
no specific river, just a river.
A dirty one, like a Cuyahoga, like a
Tuscarawas.
Tuscarawas, like a shitty river that nobody's heard of west of the Mississippi. Yeah, like a fucking Tuscarawas. You fucking die nameless. Die nameless.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. Talking about dying slow deaths, we got the Dolphins next, taking down Dallas 22-20. We're in prime Dallas season right now. They're in prime tank mode. They're in December is their month to fall apart. That's when they let all their fans down. America's team starts falling off the map. Do we think that's
sad though?
Predictable, very predictable. But as far as the Dolphins, do you think they have what it takes to compete with the top of the AFC teams?
They do, as long as Tyreek Hill's healthy. Did you? We didn't talk about this at all, like text or off the air or nothing. Did you happen to see the head coach talking mad shit to Dan Marino on the sidelines?
Yeah. Fuck your records, Dan.
Fuck your records, Dan.
Yeah.
We're coming for you.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, what an asshole.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
Yeah, I did see clips of that, and I'll be honest, I'm sure you probably aren't. And I don't know too many people that are watching Hard Knocks, the in-season. Apparently, he's a straight up trash talker, like trying to get the guys all worked up and shit. Apparently, that's his thing.
New age coach, man. I get it. Fuck your records. I mean, I dig it.
I'll put it this way: he's connecting with all these younger kids.
No respect. I'll tell you right now. I will tell you 100% right now. You try that shit in Cleveland, the first motherfucker who's telling Bernie Kosar to fuck himself is getting fucking gutted in the fucking parking lot, and they're going to end up in the West Bank of the Flats.
Well, I mean,
you're fucking dead.
That's a given. I mean, you even pull that
shit, Jared.
You pull that shit in. Is it 5 minutes left?
Don't worry about that, Jared. It's a victory, sir. Jared and I have been placing wagers all day long because we're degenerate.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, this is nice, though. This is nice. It's what you got to do with yourself. Because you know what? The Packers only play 1 day a week. They don't play 7.
Thank God they don't. God, that'd be miserable.
Take the under.
But speaking of being miserable, you got Patriots taking down the Broncos 26-23. The Patriots, kind of shocking. They pulled that one out at 4-11. Didn't expect that one, but what the hell happened to the Broncos? Like, they started out like shit, kind of started looking good, coming on, and then all of a sudden they fell right back to earth again. They look like straight crap.
They need to let Russ cook a little bit more, I think. I think the secret to their success lies on the arm of number 3. That's in my opinion.
What's going on with the offense? Because Jerry Jeudy, they were talking about trading him. It seemed like they didn't want him, but then they don't use him. And I mean, it's all basically Sutton is their offense and their run game. Like,
and he's hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like they wanted to get rid of Jerry Jeudy, but maybe they didn't have any buyers. I don't know.
Jerry Jeudy fell off the fucking face of the earth.
I think it's going to be a fire sale at the end of the year. Like, they're going to be gutting that team because Sean Payton does not seem like he wants anybody. He doesn't want any of them. He wants to bring in all of his guys and draft all new. Like, that's kind of the vibe I get.
Hell
especially
doesn't want Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, if you see his mannerisms at his press conferences and you see how he acts on the field, like, he's done. He's had it. He's done being miserable. He wants to clean house.
Could you imagine losing to the Patriots this year?
I mean, we almost lost to the Panthers, so I can imagine the Panthers are worse than the Patriots.
Sickening.
Especially when the Patriots every week, I feel like is, well, for the last few weeks it's been consistent, but it was Mac Jones, Zappy, Mac Jones, Zappy. Like, you just got beat by a guy named Zappy.
Fucking Bailey. Ugh.
No more miserable than that.
It's pretty bad.
But speaking of miserable, Pat Mahomes looked very miserable on Christmas. He him and Kelsey, it's not a good situation going on there. They are 9-6, but my God, they don't look like the dominant dynasty they have in the past. That whole Mahomes Kelsey magic it ain't working. Raiders did get the win 20-14, but if you watch the game, it didn't look that close. It looked like the Raiders owned them by 3 touchdowns. Like they were more physical. They imposed their will. They were basically up Mahomes' ass the entire game. Like he was getting rattled left and right. He was getting hit every play. It just, I mean, did you watch that game?
I saw a decent amount. Well, yeah, I saw more of it than I wanted to.
Okay, well, did you watch the beginning of it?
Yes.
Because it was what? It was like a pick six and then a fumble recovery for a touchdown, or vice versa. Like it was. I feel like it was 14 or 20 something, at least 14 something within like the first 3-4 minutes of the game. It was like, what the hell is he doing? Like he is. I've never seen him so careless with the ball. Like something's not right.
They're not intimidating at all.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Nope.
If you can rattle Mahomes and bottle him up, you got it. Because you can get in his head. Like he just.
I like it when the calls don't go their way every play.
Yeah, it's ideal.
It really.
It's almost like watching a movie. Like, oh, how are you going to overcome this now? I'm not going to lie. I was actually stat watching on the sports books, and I was like, oh, so what was it? Let me check real quick here. It was 17-7 at halftime. So I actually looked to see what the total and the money line was. And at one point, it was like minus or plus 400 for the Chiefs. And then it was 20-7 going into the fourth quarter. And I remember texting you, I'm like, okay, well, if this is the Chiefs that we always know, and familiar with, now's the time to rake in the money on the books, and you go hard on the money line for the Chiefs. At one point, it was like plus 800, plus 900 on the Chiefs going into the fourth quarter. And I didn't think that the Chiefs were going to pull it out the way they were playing, but it's almost still like something's going to happen. They're going to get the calls. Travis Kelce's going to get a touchdown. They're going to get a pass interference. Something's going to happen. And it just never happened. And then you keep looking at the odds, and I'm like, oh my God, they're getting longer. They're getting longer. That's not typical for a Chiefs game. And I don't know if you heard the stat, but what was it? I think it was Aiden O'Connell did not have a completed pass the entire second half, I think is what I heard.
Is that true, Clark?
Are you serious, Clark? Yeah, from what I understand, if I remember the stat correct, he didn't have one completed pass the entire second half. So Pat Mahomes got beat by a rookie who didn't have a completed pass.
So I'm not even mad. Honest to God, I'm impressed. That makes I might never have an erection again. Thank God I got 2 kids because I'm done.
I'm glad that did it for you.
It's garnish. It's only garnish at this point.
It's hard to count them out in the overall picture because that division stinks. But really, the Raiders are only, 1 game or 2 games behind them, and the Broncos, for as crappy as they are, they're just right behind them too. I mean, they're 7-8. Chiefs are 9-6. So really, that division's still kind of a toss-up if the Chiefs continue to shit the bed. But
there's only 1 week left, though.
It's true, but I don't know
next week.
But I don't know what the head-to-head looks like, though.
17-18. Yeah, maybe 2 weeks.
Either way, I don't know, man. They don't look like the dominant team that we've seen in the past.
They're shit. I don't know, man. Nothing. They're better. I think the Browns would be able to beat them right now. Shit, they're wild card.
I think there's a few teams that could handle them. We got to the next game here. We got the Eagles and the Giants. Eagles take down the Giants 33-25. Jalen Hurts does pass Cam Newton, sets the single season record for most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback at 15. The Eagles are another team. I don't know what to think of them. Like, they've been blowing the doors off of teams, and they're now 11-4. Like, they came out hot, guns blazing, and all of a sudden they've kind of got knocked down a few pegs as well. And the games they've lost, I feel like they haven't been close. Like, they've gotten embarrassed. Like, wasn't it just a few weeks ago they got the doors blown off by Dallas?
Yeah, they got smoked.
Yeah.
It happens.
I mean, you're going to have those clunkers, but I don't feel like they're as dominant as they were last year either. But
A bad night at Taco Bell, they come out hot, you know?
well, something
And
comes
then
out hot.
it's just all bad. It's all bad.
Well, speaking of all bad, the Niners, they were all bad. And one of the teams that probably would easily be able to handle the Chiefs, no problem. The Ravens sit atop the AFC with the best record at 12-4, 12-3. They take down San Francisco 33-19, and honestly, it didn't even look that close. Like it was bad.
Ravens are pretty good though, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean they are. Brock Purdy did not look good.
It wasn't his finest hour.
No, no, not to say the least. Lamar
You need to throw a few more touchdowns, or maybe any at that point.
Yeah. Lamar 23 of 35, 252, 2 touchdowns. He did take 2 sacks. He had 7 for 45 on the ground.
Brock Purdy, I think, threw a few more interceptions than he did touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, he threw two more interceptions than Lamar did touchdowns. He went 18 for 32, 255, 4 interceptions and 2 sacks. And then, Sam Darnold came in, saved the show, and he went 8 of 14 for 81, 1 touchdown, interception. He also got sacked twice. That defense is still tough, but I know they play Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, but man, these NFC teams, I mean, the top teams are starting to be very questionable, and it's starting to kind of prove like no matter who comes out of the NFC, I don't think they're going to be able to compete with the Ravens if the Ravens end up being on the top in the final, a final showdown. The 49ers, I mean, they just got beat. Dallas, I don't trust them. Philadelphia, I don't trust them. I mean, who else in the NFC could really compete? I don't feel like I would love to see, honestly. I mean, I don't know that we'll see that because the Browns will have to go a far distance, but I would love to see a showdown with Browns defense taking on Lamar. Like, I would love to see that matchup in the playoffs. Granted, it's going to be
I mean, I think we're headed there. Well, just think about it. If the Ravens get the number 1 seed and the Browns are wild card, this might happen. They might be a third time, buddy.
Yeah, but if they're the first seed, they get to bye the first week, so the Browns would have to work through to get to them.
You act like the Browns are going to fucking beat the first team they play in the playoffs?
I'm not saying they won't, but I'm saying the Ravens, they're not going to play the Ravens in the first round because the Ravens will have a bye. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So they would have to...
Motherfucker.
They'd have to work their way through the playoffs.
You were over there earlier tonight. You were talking about how much you fucking love Zadarius Smith and his fucking defense.
You're full of shit.
And you don't think the Browns are going to win the fucking first round?
Back the truck up. Damn. Back the truck up. Let's correct the record here. The Browns defense is phenomenal. However, I would not trade a jockstrap for Zadarius Smith. Now that we're straight on that.
I saw, dude, you just outbid me on a Zadarius Smith athletic supporter. Game used on eBay, motherfucker. Act like true. I don't know. Judiker888 is your fucking username.
Not even true.
I just got outbid, Jared. I had it on my watch list for 3 weeks.
Well, then it must be somebody else. It must be your burner account because it sure as hell isn't me.
Jared, you're only cheating yourself.
We'll leave it at that. But let's dive into some of the breaking news of the week. This is an interesting year. It's an interesting year because a lot of the teams that have basically been typically miserable for years and years and decades, they're finally at the top of the food chain here for a first. And it's going to be interesting to see how the postseason plays out. And hopefully some of these teams don't just get blasted and get unlucky draws, one and out, because it would be interesting to see how far they can go. And with that being said, the Detroit Lions do clinch the NFC North for the first time in 30 years. I know there's still some playoff seeding, at least in the NFC, where they end up. Green Bay does play Minnesota and Chicago. So
God, I love football. Isn't that great? The Lions and the fucking Browns, dude. The Lions and the Browns postseason.
Well, with Todd foreshadowing there, this is Thursday morning. This is
anybody's
Thursday
listening
morning.
to this is old news.
Yeah, this is Thursday morning. The Browns take down the Jets to clinch their first playoff win, or their first playoff spot in, was it 21 years? Is that what they said?
No, it wasn't that long.
I thought that's what they said. Or no.
Is that long?
No. Well, no, they won. Was it 2 years ago? They went to the playoffs, but what the hell was it?
Yeah, they should have beat the fucking Chiefs.
I don't know.
You got screwed on that one.
Either way, the Browns and the Lions are in the playoffs. Like, when's the last time that's happened?
That's old school. From anybody listening to this goddamn thing, it's probably somebody's like grandparents.
Well, to be honest,
back when the Lions and the Browns.
To be honest, I don't. Man, I don't know that the Lions have ever been good. I mean, even with Barry, they never really made the playoffs. They made it once or twice.
They made it, and they made it because of him. But think back to like pre-Super Bowl era, baby. It was Detroit and Cleveland back and forth.
The Lions weren't even that good back then, though.
Championship game, bullshit. Lions and it was Cleveland, Detroit, boom, 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 back to back to back to back to back to back. Detroit, Cleveland, Detroit, Cleveland, Detroit, Cleveland. That's back when the fucking Green Bay Packers were the Acme Packers.
But who was owning them?
But
who was winning?
Fucking 3 college.
But who was winning those? It wasn't the Lions. It was the Browns. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
World Championship. Otto Graham.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they fare out. I know on the McAfee show they've been doing a lot of talking to Barry Sanders, and it is kind of interesting to get his take on it, knowing the seasons and the career that he's had. His teams weren't that great. Like he went through the laundry list of quarterbacks and offensive coordinators, and I mean, he got the raw end of the deal because if you put him on any other team, it would have been phenomenal. But he had the worst team in the league by far, and he still put up numbers.
You can talk shit all you want about Scott Mitchell. I will tell you this. Eric Kramer, quarterback of the Detroit Lions, my ex-brother-in-law, used to snap the ball to him at NC State when Eric Kramer was a member of the Wolfpack. Look that shit up. Page champion. That's real. That's real. Google that shit. Try to find that shit on the internet.
I don't care.
That's real. That's real. You went on a fucking tangent about Joe Barry, fucking Matthew Barry, fucking LaFleur. No, there's one person on this fucking thing that listens to the fucking Packers.
Nobody cares about the Lions.
Nobody gives a fuck about the Packers. Nobody gives a fuck about the Packers. You're the only person this side of the fucking equator who gives a fuck about the Packers.
Nobody cares about the Lions. So let's just get that straight.
That's only because you're a fucking stupid Packer fan. Nobody gives a shit.
Exactly.
Nobody knows who the fuck Joe Barry is. People are like, who the fuck is Joe Barry? And why the fuck did you dedicate 7.5 minutes to Joe Barry talk on your fucking podcast? Let's call it what it is.
You're so full of shit.
Let's call it what it is. Arizona's up by 14 fucking points. That's a win.
Wow. All right. Anyway.
Cheers.
Have you watched the Barry Sanders documentary?
No, I can't do it until the end of the season. It's bad juju.
Okay. I've seen clips. I just haven't got around to it yet.
Do you actually have an Amazon Prime membership, or do you stream that shit illegally off the fucking interwebs?
No, I have an Amazon Prime.
You're a cheap bastard. I know you, motherfucker.
There's Amazon boxes coming in like the mail. It's a regular route here.
There is no way anybody on this podcast that spends as much time bitching to fanatics about their fucking dollar bets as you fucking actually pays for Amazon Prime. You're full of shit.
Well, it's not my account. It's her account.
Mm-hmm.
It's neither here nor there. Anyway, let's get back on track. Something related to sports. Yes.
But to pour another one.
The Lions, it'll be interesting because I feel like they're kind of all over the place. When they're on, they are on, but when they're off, they're bad. Like, for as bad as Green Bay's played, they handled them on Thanksgiving, but then again, they almost lost to the Bears, for as bad as the Bears are. But then they come out and they're on fire. They are just wreaking havoc on quarterbacks. So it'll be interesting to see. I actually would be interested to see a matchup between them and Dallas. I'm interested to see that matchup. I think Detroit will take them. That defense is really good. I think Detroit could win it.
I can't argue with that. What I mean, the Lions are good, man. Cowboys. Who the hell who do you know? Which team is going to show up?
Well, we know Dallas is probably going to sink back into their typical, their typical standard, and they're going to fall apart. That's what they typically do.
I don't understand what
every year.
Their running game is what fucking freaks me out.
Every year.
I don't understand how Pollard, Dowdle,
What happened to Pollard? Like, Pollard came into the year as like the biggest running back all-star for Dallas, and then he just like fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
Like
I don't understand.
They refused to use him. I don't even understand what happened.
CeeDee Lamb is a fucking. He's another dimension. That guy's fucking amazing.
Well, and what happened to their defense? Their defense was like the top defense of the league, carrying them these games. And what happened?
It's like they lose Diggs, and it's like, oh my god,
it falls apart. They forget how to play.
It's crazy, man. I don't know, man. Micah Parsons really carries. That motherfucker's shoulders are nuts because he's hoisting that load.
He's literally the TJ Watt for them. That's what he is. That's all the Steelers have is TJ Watt. That's all the Cowboys have is Parsons. There's nobody else on that defense. He's a freak.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's like basketball almost. Like you get one fucking superstar and they're fucking. Oof. I don't think Dallas is going to go too deep. I think Detroit would take them.
I don't think it would even be close. I honestly don't.
Detroit would take them.
I think, not to get too deep into here because we still have a couple matchups, but I think Detroit, I think they could take, it'd be close, but I think they could take Philly.
They could. I don't know what's going on with Philadelphia.
If Philly had a down day, because when they're on, they're on. But then if they're down, they're bad. I think if they caught them on a bad day, they could take them. I think they could take Dallas. The Rams, man, I don't know. Puka's at a whole nother level. If Kupp ever decided to be like phenomenal, I think that could be a problem. Having
if
Puka
let that fucking hamstring heal, and he and Puka, Kyrie Williams looks pretty damn good. Yeah. Stafford still has an arm.
There's a lot of weapons on that offense that I don't know.
The Rams should be so much better.
Yeah. But we'll get through some of the breaking news here. Not that it's a big deal, but Ramondre Stevenson, not that it mattered, but he does go to the IR for the Patriots. So his season is done. But let's be honest, the Patriots season was done for a while. So that's no big deal.
Could happen to them. You solidify that draft pick. Well, they got to stop accidentally winning. That's what's got to happen.
It's true. Yeah.
They got to stop playing the goddamn Raiders.
When you're accidentally winning against the Broncos, that's not ideal. It'll be interesting to see how they fill their shoes here. Minnesota does lose Hawkinson. He goes to the IR as well with an ACL and an MCL.
And Addison got screwed up.
Who?
Jordan Addison got banged up on this one too.
Didn't somebody else get hurt? There was 3, I thought, that got hurt from the Vikings. Hawkinson went to the IR. Addison got hurt, and I thought somebody else.
Hawkinson's done for halfway through 2024.
Yeah.
He's all screwed up.
There's somebody else
Addison might play this weekend.
I thought he was out, but it doesn't matter. You could literally have the peanut.
Not officially out.
You could literally have the peanut gallery this week. It ain't going to matter. But I could have swore like a lineman or something got hurt for them. I could be wrong.
It might be, but I mean, you're playing.
It doesn't matter.
Little sisters of the poor.
It literally doesn't matter. You literally could go out there with 8 guys, and you'll still be fine.
Dub.
You'll be fine.
7-on-7. We got this.
7-on-11. You'll be fine. Speaking of little sisters of the poor, we kind of mentioned it earlier. Not quite ideal things in Denver between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. He's got notified that he's getting benched. I had to kind of dig a little bit and listen to
some bullshit on his contract.
That's what I was going to get into, because I didn't understand the whole reason of them benching him, and somebody came out and said it was like a Derek Carr situation. So I kind of had to like figure it out. So apparently, what the rumors were, whether they're true or not, I don't know. But apparently, what the story is now is that the GM came to him and said they wanted him. He's got a clause in his, which everybody does, that's worth anything in the league, an injury clause where
like
they have
Scott Calvin clause.
Yes. They have, 'tis the season. They have some, injury settlement where if they have an injury, they're guaranteed X amount of whatever, guaranteed. And apparently there's stuff where if he gets injured, he's got like 30 something guaranteed still. And if he's doesn't pass a physical or he is still on the roster at the beginning of next season, like March, I think it is, he's got like 30 something guaranteed as well. And so they wanted him to waive that. So they basically could cut ties with him at the end of the season. At least that's what's presumed, and not have to be on the hook for anything because he would waive it. Why the fuck would anybody waive that? It makes absolutely no sense. But they said if he didn't waive it, then he would be benched and he was done for the season. He was just going to sit for the last 2 weeks. If you have Denver bent over a barrel with that in your contract, why in the hell would you sign off on that? Why would you waive that? Fine, I'll sit the bench and you'll still pay me. Like, I don't know. It makes no sense to me. I feel like I'm missing something. Like, if you're the player, why would you waive that? That's your only guarantee. Like, that's your safety blanket. That's your fallback plan. Why would you waive that? That doesn't make any sense to me. But with that being said, it's obvious that Denver is done with him. Sean Payton is done with him.
Yeah, I'm looking at his contract breakdown right now. Like, if you look at it, yeah, $245 million over 5 years.
Was that what he signed with Denver?
It says the contract includes a $50 million signing bonus, the $165 million guaranteed. So all of a sudden, Deshaun Watson is still.
That was over how many years though?
But okay, so Wilson's 22, 23, 24 salaries are guaranteed. 24. Listen, I said 24 salaries are guaranteed, and his 2025 salary will be guaranteed if he is on the roster on the 5th day of the 2024 league year. He ain't going to be on that. He ain't going to be on that roster.
So,
but it's not going to matter though.
So his 25. His 25 salary is going to be wiped clean then.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you're getting out from under is
exactly. But his 24 salary, his 24 salary is still guaranteed regardless.
Yeah, yes.
So, and there's an injury settlement somewhere. I thought that I had heard as well,
dude.
So they're going to be on the hook. So they're going to be on the hook for that regardless.
What's going to be funny is when his ass is playing for the fucking Raiders in 24, and you're paying his ass to beat you twice a season.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so. I hope that motherfucker goes to the Raiders.
Well, because, I mean, what doesn't, like I said, like, why would any player waive that? That they have nothing to gain from that.
Wouldn't.
They have nothing to gain from that. The only people that have anything to gain from that is the organization. The player has nothing to gain from that.
Yeah, you got yourself in a situation.
Because he has Denver bent over a barrel right now. Like, fine, sit me. I don't care. All you're going to do is get out from my 1 year of contract, but I'm still getting paid for all of next year. And I can go into my preseason training for my next team.
Oh yeah.
So he'll be healthy as a spring chicken come next what is it, June training camp, because he wouldn't have had to play for 6 months.
Sounds right.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Who the hell? I forget who it was. They said who the hell is the backup for them?
For who?
Denver. I can't remember who they said is coming in instead of him. Who's the starter? Do you remember?
The only thing I can see in my head are fucking Drew Lock rapping on the fucking sidelines.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
But he was part of the trade, though.
Yeah,
he was part of the trade.
You know what somebody said, and I thought that would be kind of funny, but there's no way in hell it would happen. What are the odds if basically his contract for all of next year is paid for by Denver? What if he goes back to Seattle?
That would be kind of
because Seattle wouldn't be on the hook for anything next year because Denver would be paying it. But I thought that Geno got a decent contract, so I don't think they're going to pay Geno and him.
You probably did
when they got rid of him.
I'm going to have to get me another Seattle number 3.
He's going to go somewhere, and it's probably going to end up being against Denver one way or another.
I want it to be the Raiders because what do they have?
Yeah.
Could you imagine Russell Wilson? Oh, my God.
Well, Jimmy G, what's his contract look like? Can the Raiders get out from underneath that?
Jimmy, I don't even know the fuck. He may as well be playing in Japan. I don't even know if they got football in Japan, but that motherfucker may as well be playing in Japan.
Yeah, I don't know. And the thing is too, I mean, let's be honest. Right now, Denver, like I said, they're 7-8. Right now, Denver's 7-8. Do you really think that you'd be much worse off with Russell Wilson? I mean, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to go 7-10. I mean, Do you really think it's going to be much different if you put the backup in?
No.
Exactly. You're already paying for him anyway.
If you're not all in, you're not in at all.
You know, the whole reason I think the whole problem here was because he wasn't doing enough high knees.
Calisthenics.
He wasn't doing enough high knees this year on the plane. Sean Payton must have mixed that.
I do the plyometrics.
Sean Payton must have said, you know what, we're not doing the
jumping jacks.
We're not doing the jumping jacks and the sit-ups on the plane this year.
Stretches.
So he probably just wasn't as loose for the games.
Your lyrics, you got to sing your songs.
Well, we solved that problem. That's all he needed.
Subway commercials. Could do Subway commercials. Advertisements, or as we call it in the biz, advertisements. Advertisements.
Well, we'll end with one more dumpster. We already kind of touched on it a little bit. I've never seen it happen, and you've played ball, obviously not at the collegiate level, not at the pro level.
I got hurt.
But what would your response be if, per se, you're out for a coin toss and you're named a captain, and then all of a sudden some random guy who was not named captain shows up next to you and just says, "Hey, I'm going to call it," and practically screws up the coin toss?
Yeah, let me tell you something right now. I don't give a fuck at what level you are. I'm grabbing. We're fucking hitching that motherfucker up, and we're covering his mouth, and you're not talking, dude. Like, you want to stand out here and be part of the fucking nominee ceremony, and we're accepting the award for best supporting actress. That's cool. You want to stand out here on the stage? That's one thing. You want to fucking take the mic? Ain't happening. I am gonna punch you right in the labia. You are not fucking talking. You are not saying, no, we want our defense on the field. We're leaving zero room for error. No, not happening. Those other Packers captains have got to have a sack in that situation.
They don't. That's the problem. They don't. That's the problem. I've never seen so much dysfunction and so much bullshit. Like, that never would have flew on a high school team, let alone a pro team or a college team. And they were talking about it on, the McAfee show, like some of these other coaches. Can you imagine that shit happen in Tennessee with Vrabel?
No.
Or Belichick?
No.
Or Tomlin?
No, you're done. I'm glad they suspended him a game. But
here's the problem.
Bullshit.
This shit should have been nipped in the bud weeks ago.
Motherfucker's in the locker room.
He's been a cancer, and he's been toxic for this entire team for the most part of the season. Like, he literally just practices and then he doesn't play. And then when he's asked, like, are you healthy? Yeah. Do you feel like the coaches have, do you feel like you have the coaches' support? Yeah. But then when he's asked, he hasn't talked to LaFleur all season. And then he pulls this shit and like, well, where the hell, why did it get to this point? And then you got Devondre Campbell, last week, a couple weeks ago, basically lashing out at fans or coaches, whoever it was targeted towards. Like, hey, I'm going to do me. I'm only in this for me. If I'm hurt, I'm not playing. Like, I'm only playing, if I feel healthy or whatever. Because, they basically come at you, you can't win, basically. And it's just like, what the hell is going on? This shit you're in this situation because you have coaching staff who has no balls from the top down. Like, the whole thing is a total dysfunction. They need a clean house. But I've never seen this ever at any level where you just, and they were talking about it on McAfee, like Green Bay, and I'm sure you've probably seen them, but it's been notorious for Green Bay that they take pictures of the captains before the game. And it was always a thing, a spoof, whatever, that Rodgers, if he wasn't a captain, he was in every single picture photobombing the, behind the scenes. So it was always a thing. So was Jair even in the picture? Because if he wasn't, then he was on the other side of the sideline. And then when they walked out, he was just like, oh, that's me. And just took off and ran. And like, nobody said anything. But yeah, the other guys that were out there, the other three captains, when he ran out there, and that was what they were talking about earlier on ESPN. Like, why did nobody else be like, why are you out here? Like, get the fuck back on the sideline. Why are you here? Like, why did nobody pull him out? Who has the say, especially on the defense? Because I don't think he's going to listen to a damn person on the offense. But as far as the defense, it should have been somebody like Kenny Clark. Like, get your ass out the field. Or, somebody like that. The
That's
problem
what
is,
I don't understand.
the problem is,
what are your other like your actual appointed captains?
well, the problem is
silent. That's fucking bullshit, Jared. That'd be like me sitting there letting you fucking just ramble on about this bullshit. I gotta fucking stand up, Jared. I gotta tell you, no, that's bullshit, Jared. You gotta shut the fuck up and muffle it, man.
Hey, the problem is when you have a manager who puts together the youngest team ever in the NFL, you have no veterans. Nobody has the balls to stand up. So that's what you get, a total dysfunction. Before Todd gets out of control, we'll more so anyway. We'll wrap this up. But to put a bow on it, the Packers did basically decide they had enough. And Jair is on the reserve suspended list. If it was me, I would have told him he was done for the season and just be done with it. I don't think he'll be back next year. I think they're going to part ways, and it's probably not for the worst, but it is what it is. But I think that's all for this episode on the Fifth Quarter Sportscast. We need to get off here before Todd goes on another rambling rant and gets us in trouble.
Let's talk about Joe Barry some more.
Yeah, let's not.
Tell me again.
Hey, just wait till next week. Just wait till next week when Hall rips us apart and has a 500-yard game. We'll talk about it then. We'll
the human joystick.
Yeah. Download, rate, subscribe, review, do all that fun stuff. If you want to interact with us on the socials, it's 5th Q Sportscast, 5THQ Sportscast. If you want to be degenerates like us, go out there and get some bets, play some odds. Good luck with the bets, win some money, get all the books money. I think we got some Saturday games this week too, don't we? I believe.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah, the Saturday games.
Yeah, we got Lions. We got Lions Cowboys this Saturday, so we'll get to see that.
Yep, that's right. And the first person to guess correctly what song and what artist when I end this fucking podcast with gets a $25 gift card to Applebee's. Mark that shit down on YouTube. Whoever guesses correctly the artist and song on YouTube gets a $25 gift card to Applebee's. I swear to God, I'm doing it.
Well, with that being said, we'll wrap up this episode. Go watch some Week 17 football. Come back next week. We'll break some down. And, we'll catch you next week.
I met Malenko. He gave me 3 wishes. That night, I fucked 3 fat bitches.